And we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art, My Medicine podcast. And my name is Dorota. I'm a creative warrior. I'm a reborn artist who turned to art after a massive mental health breakdown. And I host guests who have similar stories and use creativity in one form or the other to raise awareness, to heal themselves and heal others. And today I have an amazing guest, Ryan. Ryan, who is the author of amazing book, and I can't really, advertise it enough, with the beautiful title, Riding the Storm. And I will let Ryan to tell you a little bit about himself.
Hi, thank you for inviting me on the show for a start. It's been a pleasure. I know we spoke many times, but yeah, my name's Ryan. I've got my own book about my discoveries of mental health, my journey in borderline personality disorder, and what I went through as a child growing up and losing my brother and things like that. It's just moulded me into who I am today, and I'll put it out there to share to the world. So if anyone else is struggling, they can feel a bit of comfort knowing that they're not alone, and there's ways out of any black hole that you're experiencing and things like that.
Amazing. You went through a lot. From reading your book, I know that it wasn't an easy journey. And you live with the condition that is still very stigmatized and I think misunderstood. Could you tell us a bit what borderline personality is and what is it called nowadays? Because we know it as borderline personality, but it is not described as such nowadays. It has a better name, doesn't it?
Yeah, it used to be called borderline personality disorder, but nowadays they describe it as EUPD or EID, which is in emotional intensity disorder. It basically means that any emotion that we feel, it's heightened in so many ways. So when we're angry, we're really angry. When we're happy, we're so joyous. We feel absolutely everything, and then we take things personally. It's hard to just distinguish the difference between someone having a laugh or attacking you, because you just feel, if someone's making a joke, you could feel like they're attacking you in a certain way. So it alters the way we respond to situations. We struggle to cope with different situations and that, because everything's so heightened. It's hard to live with, basically.
I can imagine. This must be like, constant roller coaster, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of people describe who have experienced time with me. They say it's like walking on eggshells around me. It's like they don't know what to say, what to do, because they don't know how I'm going to react. So it's definitely like that. And like you say, a roller coaster, it's up, down, up, down. It's never a level playing field.
Wow. So how do you manage your condition?
It's hard. It's basically just trying to give yourself a step back from everything that's happening for a couple of seconds to analyse it and think, right, is this worth losing your mind over it, or is this worth putting 100% behind? Instead of just, because we're very impulsive, we just, instead of thinking about it, we just bang, bang, bang. So we have to kind of step back from every situation, even if it's just a couple of seconds, and kind of process and analyse it and say, right, is this worth, like say, losing all your mind over it and getting really angry, or ignoring it, or if something's feeling really good, think, do I put everything into it, or is it worth it? Is it just my mind saying, oh, this is going to be brilliant? So yeah, it's hard, but it's manageable.
Ian joined us. Hello, Ian. He says that it resonates with him because his emotions always are all over the place. And I think that it resonates with many of us. However, I would assume that that the disorder itself is the highest point on the spectrum of having this kind of mood swings, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is there any medication that you can be on to help you manage it?
Yeah, there's different types of, when they say antidepressants that kind of mellow the thought process so you can manage to, process it and understand it a bit more before you do react. But a lot of majority of it, the medication gives you that starting point, but it's down to you at the end of the day to use the skills that you learned over the years or however long. You can go through courses and things like that. There's programs out there, but it's hard getting on these programs because there's such a long waiting list.
Again, don't we have the bloody waiting lists? It's just agonizing, isn't it? So you went through the life. You had a lot of trauma, which is described in your book brilliantly. Since when you know that the disorder is there? When have you been diagnosed?
That was about 7-8 years ago now. So it was a long time after everything that kind of happened in my life. I always just thought I was just an angry person who just lost my head at stupid situations. I thought that was just who I was. And I went through a really bad period a long time ago. And my doctor referred me to a mental health team. And as soon as he'd done that, I was thinking, great, I'm crazy. And, this is it. This is my end of my road. I'm going to be sectioned. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. And I just sat down with this lovely lady who basically straight away said that, oh, you've got borderline personality disorder. And I've never heard of it before. So going away from that first meeting, I kind of Googled everything, which isn't the best thing to do because Google gives you the worst case scenario. But it did open up my eyes because I was like, ticking things off as I was reading it, thinking, yeah, that's me. That's me. I do that, And then going from there into my first group therapy session was a massive step because there was other people there who was exactly the same with me. And I've never come across anyone like that before. So it kind of just gave me a confidence to carry on and thinking, well, I'm not
alone.
And that's the problem these days, especially in men, because men do not want to open up about their feelings and that. And so that's another reason why I've done the book, to show that, here's a man who went through crap in his life. And I'm here saying that it's okay to talk, I understand, if I can do it, you can do it, just start that process of trying to understand yourself and get that help.
Yeah, which is not easy because, when you seek for help, you're acknowledging that you have a problem. And this is a big impact on your confidence, on your psyche, because you are agreeing, yeah, I have a problem. And this is the step that is the hardest for everyone, I would assume. So how the book came about, how the idea was born, how long it took you to give birth to, tell us a bit about that.
I first started it in 2007, but that was just, it was shortly after I lost my brother. And originally it was just going to be about, his life and what he went through, and just to say to everyone that this is my brother, and whoever knew him, this is what he dealt with in life. And just, embrace what he was. And then I put it in the back burner because I went through a really bad period. I lost my marriage. That was my own fault. And I went from relationship to relationship. I didn't realise that was my coping mechanism of losing my brother. That's just the only way I dealt with it. And then it was back in 2014. no, 2013, I got, thought about it again. So I didn't know how to go about it. So I got hold of a ghostwriter who lives locally, lovely lady, Marnie Summerfield Smith, and she helped me process it down. It's like she come to me once a month and I just talk, she record it, she'll go away, write it up, and then the next month she'll come back, show me what she's got, and we just build it up from there. So it took about 4 years to actually, from start to finish, of writing a book, but that was my choice. I didn't want to go too intense into it. I wanted it just once a month. And it was like a counselling therapy session for me, because I could sit there and say whatever I wanted, because in my mind, I'll go from one subject to the other, just bang, 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 bang. I couldn't.
Streamlined, yeah.
Yeah. And she was so clever. She recorded it and went away and broke it down and sorted it out and put it into pieces. It was a lovely process, hard going, because I was remembering stuff that I'd forgotten about and, didn't want to talk about again, because I've talked about it so many times, but I knew that this time talking about it, I was getting the paper and it was kind of putting a line under everything. Right now it's in the book, so I can forget about that and turn everything into a positive and go from there. So, yeah, hard process, but I would never change it for the world. I loved it.
So I sense that there was a lot of healing for yourself while writing that book. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. Because I learned to process everything myself, and I looked at everything from a different angle this time, especially talking about it to the ghostwriter. She was asking me questions as I was going. I was like, I was sitting there thinking about it, thinking, oh yeah, this happened and that happened. Wow, I forgot about that. And it was a massive healing thing. I could finally put to bed a lot of demons and put it into such a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's amazing that you mentioned that particular word, because I do refer to my art, and when I depict any states of mind or my condition, I used to say that I'm trapping demons on the paper. And there is a famous saying, I think it was Virginia Woolf who said that by describing something, I'm of course not quoting word by word, but by describing something, she analyzes it in some way and then put it to rest. So it's and there is a saying also, move to the next chapter, close the book, So I think that artistic process in some way is about, dealing, healing, and trapping those demons, and then having a kind of tabula rasa, now I can move on, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like now that it's on paper, I'm in control of them. I can control what happens to them, and that, and turn them into negative thoughts into a positive place, so it can help others. And instead of drowning me or weighing me down, I'm stronger than them now. So because they're in paper, I've put them there, say, well, I'm the boss now, so you don't control me, I'll control you. And now you're going to help others instead of destroying me. So, it's definitely a brilliant process like that. Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and it's turning the negative into positive, isn't it? Because I'm sure that book can help others understand and feel less alone. For me, it was great to have an insight into the disorder that, like you, before you got diagnosed, I knew very little about. And the beautiful title is just amazing. Could you tell us why your book is called Riding the Storm?
Yeah, it was a weird session with the ghostwriter. We just thrown some ideas about, and she said, what's it like when you have an episode? I said, it's like you're in the storm, and that it's like you're riding that wave and you don't know whether you're going to crash into the rocks or the lighthouse is going to save you, or things like it's like you're a boat trapped in a storm. And it was just like, wow, why don't we just say it's called Riding the Storm? Because actually that's what you are. You're riding that storm. and you don't know if you're going to crash or you're going to the storm's going to ease and you're still going to be floating. And I was just like, yeah, that just fits. It just makes perfect sense.
Yeah, the title is beautiful, and I can really understand why your book is titled that way. Definitely worth the read. But I also know that deep down you are a very creative being, and you used to execute some artistry in other forms than writing, right?
Yeah, I used to load of drawing as a kid. You know, that was my therapy. That was my safe space. You know, especially cartoons. I could just see a cartoon, just copy it. You know, without tracing it, just do that. And I got that from my brother. He was very artistic and that because he was very creative and he used to love Lego a lot. Um, yeah, it was just something I've done, and I haven't done it in such a long time. And I will go back to it one day. You know, it's just finding the right time in my life. At the moment, I just want to concentrate on the book and get things out there and help others. But maybe one day I'll go back to the another creative side.
Yeah, definitely, because I sense a lot of creativity that needs to find the channel there. But I know that your book is a journey still, and that book led you to certain advocacy and, spreading the word and raising awareness. So I know that you are getting engaged in some wonderful projects. So what are they?
Yeah, obviously I'm trying to get the book out there as much as I can. You know, hopefully I'll have my own agent soon, which will expand the doors, hopefully opening and that. And there's a local charity from where I come from called Sheppey Matters. They've asked me to be ambassador for their men's mental health program, and which I'm so honoured, to help anyone as much as I can. I will. So hopefully, especially around here, because it's a small community and there's not much going on to do with mental health, especially men. Even if we can help one other person, then our goal's achieved, if that makes sense. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to what possibilities may come.
Yeah, definitely. And you touched the topic that it's very important that mental health around men is still stigmatized, isn't it? And it's not talked enough by men themselves because of certain barriers that we know about. What do you think should be put in place to encourage men to seek help, to talk about their mental health problems?
I'll say just options for them to reach out to see other men talking about how they feel and that, to give others that chance to think, well, I'd like to talk, but I don't feel like I've got anyone to talk to give them that option, say, look, we're here to listen. Give them that basically kick up the butt and say, look, you're struggling. You can see these other men struggling, but willing to talk. Why don't you start that journey and come and talk to us? There needs to be that option for men or anyone really, but just more stuff there to release that stigma, because that stigma is such a massive thing still, and even in this day and age with the way the world is, it's still massive and it shouldn't be.
Yeah, there is still this kind of way of raising boys, isn't it? I think that it's where to start from is from the childhood, when we raise our children up, trying to make it clear that it's okay to feel certain emotions, isn't it?
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. You had a lot of experience while going through diagnosis and living with your disorder with mental health services. What is there, you think, that should be immediately improved to make a difference?
More groups that are accessible, lesser waiting times for a start, and I just say more available. I know the funding is awful and that needs to be looked into, you know, and hopefully one day the government will put more money and resources into mental health. But like I said, there needs to be more options out there and less waiting time so more people can get the chance to make a difference to their lives and other people's lives.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it amazes me that, you know, in the circumstances we are living, still in pandemic, really, when so many people experience for the very first time what does it mean to have any mental health problem, that we are still in this backlog of waiting lists and whatsoever. But anyone I talk to during the podcast or in my private life say that this sense of being a part of a tribe with like-minded people, with others who understand, who you don't need to go excessively into details to explain what's going on, is the part of the cure, isn't it? Is the most important factor for us to get better. So do you know about any groups that maybe specifically are designed for borderline personality disorder?
The only one I knew of is what I've already done, and it was called a Steps and Stairways program. But then that was, you had to be assessed and things like that. And then that was being referred from your doctor to the mental health team, and then they basically interview you and see if you're accepted or accessible for this program. It's not as easy thing to get into. You can't just turn up. When perhaps there should be more like that, you know, something you can just walk in,
yeah,
and you know, and sit down and just, not like an AA meeting and say, hi, my name's so and so and I've got BPD, but something more relaxed and comfortable, and to know that when you walk through that door, you're going to be understood straight away, no matter, even if you don't say anything. You know, it needs more groups like that. That's going to make it feel more comfortable and relaxed for people who are struggling to come in. And even if it's just an hour out of their week, for that 1 hour, they're going to feel accepted. And that's the biggest thing, accepted and understood in this world.
Yeah.
And it needs more like that.
Yeah. And something that can be done on your terms, like I feel today that I need people like me, and I can then go there and be with them. This is what I find amazing in a negative sense, that you know, let's say you wake up with the fever and you know you feel very awful. You can call your GP at 8 a.m. and book an emergency appointment. Why we don't have this local service at the GP that you could book the emergency appointment with mental health nurse, for example? Why we are still in the Stone Age when it comes to mental health?
It's like everyone's scared to even attempt to do anything about it. It's like, oh no, if I open that door, you know, it's going to cause so many problems. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be monsters there and things like that, which we know there's not. But for some reason, they're just too scared to take that chance, take that risk to say, right, we're going to open a special service for people to ring up and book an appointment to do with mental health. Because when you speak to the mental health, when you ring up the doctor now and say that you suffer with mental health, all they want to do is just give you tablets straight away.
Yeah.
And that's not the answer. It calms you down, but it doesn't fix a problem. It just masks it.
Exactly.
Talking is the best therapy when it comes to mental health, I believe.
Yeah. And the problem is that, you know, you can manage the mental health pretty well, mostly if you live with ill mental health since, like myself, since teenage time. You learn how to deal with it. But there are moments of crisis when you really, really need the intervention. But sometimes the crisis is not as huge as that you need to go to hospital and anyway waited 6 hours to be seen. But you need like the doctor appointment, like the GP appointment. You need someone to just speak to for 10 minutes and and get better. And I think that this is the part that should be somehow implemented. And we will say money, but there is something that I called false economy. So we don't have money to put systems like that in place, but then we are spending much more in the long run dealing with people who can go through crisis to crisis until it's too late to help them, and then you spend a lot of money to hospitalize them. And so where is the logic here? So that would be lovely. There is a comment from I think Adam that I will show. What do you think of the mental health warriors going on tour in 2022, speaking to the community about mental health?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. It needs more projects like that for people to go out there and just talk and listen to people, because that 5 minutes could change someone's life. They could be in that crisis at that time, and if they're being heard, and even if you don't understand, just to be heard by someone and not criticised and shut down and say, well, you're just being stupid, or we all go through sorry, I need to swore then. If we all go through troubles in life and that, just to be heard makes a huge difference. So I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, well, we may hold you on to it and invite you for talks.
Yeah, definitely. I'll talk to anyone.
Ian says, 100% agree with that. Talking is the best therapy. It is. Yeah. Sometimes, however, people have problem verbalizing what's really wrong. There is also a lot about language that is used in response to us opening up about mental health. So do you have any responses that you received in your life to trying to talk about your mental health that you would say that you want to just remove them from people dictionaries?
The worst one I found was man up.
Oh. What does it mean anyway?
Exactly. I don't understand, but that's just their best way of responding to it, or get over it.
Oh yeah.
Or you'll be fine in 10 minutes. Yeah, I probably will be fine in 10 minutes, but you saying it is going to make it longer than 10 minutes because you're teeing me off now because you're not listening to me. It's like you're dismissing what I'm saying. Yeah. Just don't dismiss us. I had one, a family member once. I was starting to go downhill and that, and they turned around and said, "Oh, here we go again." And I was like, so it made my episode a lot worse just by that one comment. So here we go again. If they just sat down and said, right, talk to me, what's going on in your head? I know it's hard to describe what goes in our head sometimes. Yeah. But us just trying to process to talk about it puts it all in place, calms us down.
Yes,
because we're thinking about what's going on then, instead of just riding that storm. We're analysing that storm. We're calming that sea down by just taking that brief second and say, right, what's going on? And then we can just talk. It might make absolutely no sense whatsoever. You can just use any language you want. But for that split second, you're not, like I say, riding that storm, you're analysing that storm and then you're breaking it down. That's all
You're
we
like
need
becoming
sometimes.
your own therapist in that sense, don't you?
Yeah.
I believe in power of speaking out, and like you said, for me, art way, because when I create an art piece that depicts certain struggle I have, it's like I first of all identify it, then give it a form, and then I am more likely to deal with it because I have the picture, because I'm a person who sees pictures, I think in pictures. And so for me, it's like giving it a form. And exactly this, what you said about speaking, is like analyzing, giving it a form, features, and then finding out what to do with it, of course, it doesn't solve the problems. Some demons are still with us, even if we talk about them. But it's like about taming them, isn't it? They become less scary.
Yeah, it gives us the power. Basically, it means that we can take control, even if it's only a little bit. But that little bit is better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a simple process that we go through, but just to be given that option helps us immensely, and just someone just to sit there and listen.
Yeah.
You haven't got to say anything. Just let us go, blah, 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 blah. Let us scream, let us shout, let's do whatever it takes us to calm down.
Yeah.
But as long as you don't judge us or question us about it afterwards, that's all we need.
Yeah, exactly. I used to say that whoever listens to me shouldn't try to fix me. I tried for over 40 years of my life. So I'm not talking to you to fix me or advise me what to do. I just want to be heard. I just want someone to acknowledge that, I'm struggling without, trying to, tighten some screws,
What I found as well is what people used to say to me, how can I help you? Give me the answers. And I used to say to them, why do you think I've got the answers? If I knew the answers, I wouldn't be the way I am.
Yeah, you would help yourself if you knew how.
Yeah, it's like they want me to help them to help me. I'm like, well, that's just ridiculous. How can I help you to help me? Then if I know that, I'll just help myself and just to you.
Yeah.
I don't need you. I just, do you know what I mean? It's. I know they mean well when they use things like that because they don't understand. But I've said to them sometimes before, just listen. Don't judge. Don't take what we say personally. Because they think, a lot of times I find people think I'm attacking them verbally when I'm not. I'm just frustrated with why I am and I'm struggling with processes. That's the only way I know how to deal with it sometimes. So don't take it personally. But then they do, so then they fire back and they hurt me, and it turns into a massive row on that. And I'm not saying that, that I'm wrong for doing certain things in the way I cope with some of my episodes, but don't punish me for them because I don't mean them.
Yeah, it's the illness speaking, isn't it?
Yeah, but then they say they seem to think that their response is justified, but mine never is. I'm like, well, what's the difference? How come you can say and do whatever you like, and that's fine because I verbally attacked you, but so mine's wrong, yours is right. What's the difference? You hurt me in certain respects to make me feel like this. So where's the justification in that? And it never is.
Yeah.
It's just all about understanding.
Yeah. Oh gosh, there is a question which I bring. When you hear the phrase fear of speaking out, what does it mean to you and what does it look like from your perspective?
Fear of speaking out. It's one of them things I find that people used to say about man up and that, like keep all your emotions in. You don't need to bother people with your crap, basically. So yeah, I guess there is a lot of, especially men still now, the fear of speaking out because they feel like they're going to be ridiculed, judged, and that even though we still do, but it shouldn't stop us speaking out how we feel, and that no one should withhold their feelings. There should be no fear of speaking out. If you've got something to say it. And if the people can't accept it, what you're saying is, then are they the right people to take on your journey?
Yeah.
Because I've lost loads of people in my time who didn't want to understand that. And that was hard to take because I struggle with abandonment. But the flip side of that is I've met so many amazing people who want to be in my life now. And some of the people I've never met face to face, it's all been over message or podcasts like this. There's been so many people that I know that I could turn to in a crisis, and they would listen. So, yes, it's a big step to take, and it is scary. But man, the things that you can achieve from just speaking out, that the doors that would open, it's amazing. Just take that step.
Yeah. Well, there is a saying that, bravery, being brave, it's not about not feeling the fear. It's just about acting despite of the fear, isn't it?
Yes, definitely the first step of taking control of what demons are in your head and things like that, because up to that point, they've been controlling you. They're making you be scared of talking. They're giving you the insight in your head saying, no, you're not worth it. What's the point of talking out, because no one's going to listen to you? That first step was saying, well, no, I am going to talk out. I am going to see if someone can listen. That's you taking some power back. And that's the biggest step, but the best step you could ever take.
Yeah. There is another one. Do you think it is easier to talk to a therapist or someone you don't know personally rather than a family member or loved one?
I have nothing against therapists, but I find it easier to talk to people that I know are going to understand, and that might not be a loved one or family member. It could be a total stranger, but to know that they understand me more than anyone else can makes a huge difference. It's like talking to you, Dorota. I know we've spoken a couple of times, but I find it so easy to talk to you because I know you understand. But I could never have these conversations with a loved one or family member because they wouldn't be asking the same questions back. They wouldn't be sitting there saying, yeah, that's right, I understand, and things like that. They would question what I'm saying every time. And it just makes the process harder because you've got to explain yourself even more. And that's when you start getting angry and upset and peed off because that person's stopping your flow. That flow is so important. If you can flow and just carry on talking, it's such a stress reliever. So, yeah, for me personally, it's just my personal opinion that I find it easy to talk to strangers or people that I know that are going to understand me or willing to listen.
Yeah. Well, I find that loved ones, in particular family members, there is always that investment of emotions that is a barrier, because even if you try, no matter how hard you try to speak with the loved one, they at some point feel that we blame them for how we feel, although we don't. But because they are loved ones, they live around us, they automatically, it's natural process that we are looking for the fault in ourselves, what I'm doing wrong for making her ill, right? And this is the barrier, because then they become defensive and don't listen.
Definitely, yeah. They take things personally.
Yeah.
And yeah, there is certain things that you can talk to your loved ones about and that. But for me, you never get the best feeling as it like you do talk to someone completely different who's not involved in your life that much, because they're not going to take things personally, and then they're going to look at it from your perspective and not their perspective and that.
Indeed. Would you say that you are now a warrior fighting the battle to bring awareness about borderline personality and make sure that people who have similar conditions can be listened to?
I don't see myself as warrior. I just see myself as just me, and this is my journey. This is what I was put on this earth for. That's what I feel now, because I always did wonder, why am I here? What is my purpose in life? But now I feel like this is what I'm here for. I wouldn't call myself a warrior in that, perhaps I should, but
I think you should.
It's when it comes to self compliments, I'm the worst. I can give them, I can see the best in everyone else, but for me, I'm like, no, you're wrong. But that's another challenge. That's another book.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I just feel like, you know, I'm doing what I love. I love doing this. I love talking about mental health, even though it sounds a bit sadistic in that, but not in a negative way, but in a positive way, to put a positive spin on it, to say that, you know, you might be struggling mentally and that, but doesn't make you any less human than anyone else. It makes you more special, in effect, because you've got a bigger heart than anyone else. You understand how the world works in a certain respect, and that's a powerful thing. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it is. It is. I believe that anybody who went through any storm became, how to say, became more responsive to other struggles, you know, to
Definitely.
people who, yeah, it's why we have the saying, you know, try to walk in somebody's shoes. Because only if you go through some trauma, some struggles, you then can understand what other person might be going through. That is why it's so important to find your tribe, to find people who may have similar experiences to you. And this is what changed my life and my recovery journey. That when I started to search for people who advocate for mental health, who have lived experience of mental health, I started to feel that I belong, because I was always perceiving myself, I'm the weirdo, you know, nobody
Yeah.
understands me. But now I have a tribe of people who I can turn to, like you said, and, you know, they don't even ask questions. They just there, and they offer this what is needed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is exactly it. That's how I see it as well. You feel like, I don't class it as trauma. For me, I feel like it's a family.
Yeah.
You know, it's not blood related, but it's family, that we're all made from the same cloth. We're all understandable people. We're all responsible. We're all respectful. We're all survivors.
Yeah. Indeed. And I think that if there is anything that can encourage people to seek help and speak out and you know, open up about their struggles, is this, that you will not feel alone. You may not be cured. Nobody can guarantee, but you will feel the sense of belonging and being understood among people who have similar struggles. So if nothing else, that aspect is something that can perhaps encourage others to seek help.
Definitely. God, yeah. You know, I've always believed that if I can help one other person, then my job is complete. You know, I don't class it as a job. I class it as my life now. This is, you
A
know, I go
mission.
to work.
It's a mission, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah, and that mission will never be complete in a certain respect. You know, apart from I'll never give up. I'll still carry on, even if I know I've helped one person. That is brilliant, but I want to help as many people as I can. But to know that if I've just helped one person, then I'm happy.
Yeah. Oh, there is a lovely comment. Ryan, you are an inspiration, especially to men who suffer from mental illness. Thank you, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Wow.
I think exactly the same, Ryan. You are an inspiration. And Adam said, Ian, you're right. Ryan is an inspiration to men with mental health. This is why we'll be hosting a panel discussion next Friday about mental health in men. Interesting. Okay, there is a question for you. A diary for the upcoming week of what will be on will be published. Oh, will be published tomorrow. So if you would like Ryan to join the panel, I'm sure that you can find the information tomorrow on our channels of how to tune in.
Yeah, I'll definitely look into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it brings me to, because we have just 15 minutes left. It brings me to the initiative I started for all my guests, that before I speak to them live, like with you now, I spent some time with the energy and thinking about them, and I produce an artwork that is produced with them in my mind. So it's I believe that it's then very special because I'm trying to transmit some energy that I feel. So I have an artwork that I created for you in my mind.
Uh-oh.
And yeah, and this what happens. You have priority to purchase that artwork at whatever donation rate. I'm not giving prices for those artworks, and 20% of that income goes to Mental Health Warriors, because Mental Health Warriors is the initiative run by donations purely. And if there is anybody who would like to donate, there is a banner going at the bottom of the screen. So would you like to see it?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, so that is it.
Wow.
So it's literally riding the storm.
Yeah. Wow.
And
like
it's
that.
amazing. It's amazing story behind it, because I was just playing with the paper and the storm, really. And I will show you later the beginning of that painting. I didn't intend to paint the gentleman riding the bike. It just emerged. So there was something spooky happening during the creative process, that it was meant to be born. So yeah, that artwork, I will send you a digital copy of it so you can see it better after our program. And if you wish to purchase, we can talk about it. And anybody else who got intrigued by this artwork, the prints are available as well. So feel free. So I always try to finish on the positive note. So, if there is someone listening now, and maybe they are not diagnosed with borderline personality, but this what you said resonates with them, and they think there might be something like that I am experiencing. What would you tell them to do next, in terms like they might be very at the bottom at the moment? What would be your advice to bring them a bit up?
I'll just say reach out to anyone you can think of, or ourselves, and if they're watching here, I'm sure there's a contact they can, there's an email address or anything like that, or they can find me on Instagram. Anyone they want to talk to, just reach out. I'm always there. I know you're always there to listen to other people. So just make that step. We're here to understand. We're here to listen, and that's all you need to start your journey, is just to be heard.
Yeah. Well, this brings me to you telling our audience how to find you, how to reach out to you if they would, in particular, speak to you.
Yeah, I've got a page on Facebook called Ryan the Storm. I've got on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. Many social medias. My inbox is always open. Or especially Instagram. That's the best place to find me, because I'm on there a lot. I like to post a lot on Instagram and that. So yeah, just message me on there, Ryan the Storm, and I'm always here to help.
That's great. Well, I put the link to your Instagram in the comments for YouTube channel, so people can just copy and paste, I hope. And on the bright note of what's next, what amazing other projects you may be brewing?
I did start writing a second book. I've put that on the back burner for now.
Oh.
So maybe in a couple of years I'll bring that out. I don't know. Perhaps, I don't know where it started off, just as explaining more about PPD, but then as my life's changing, it might be about that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I'm keeping some stuff close to my chest. I'm just concentrating on this one project for now and see what that brings.
Well, that's definitely intriguing. And the last thing I think that is very important aspect, because I know that your condition makes relationships very difficult, doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
big time.
Yeah. So if there is someone living with a person who might have borderline personality, what would be your advice to make the relationship healthier, better, and just to thrive?
I'd say just don't give up on them. Just listen to them, hold them, tell them how special they are, and tell them that whatever they're thinking, they're there to listen, they're there to understand as much as best they can. Tell them that them negative thoughts in their head are just thoughts. They're not real. They're just, just your imagination. Just reassure them that they're loved and wanted. And like I said, just don't give up on them. Because unfortunately, I've been given up on so many times that it's heartbreaking. But it hasn't obviously stopped me. I'm still out there, doing what I can and searching for love, because I just want to be loved and happy as well. So if you are with someone who is struggling, just don't give up and tell them their worth. Remind them of why you got with them in the first place.
And hold on to that, right? Like how did you start loving them?
Yeah. Remind them of their strengths and their qualities and what they bring to a relationship in a positive way. Not just remind them of the negatives, because that's what happens. People focus too much on the negatives when it comes to relationships, and they just give up so easy. They don't give. Yes, it's hard being in a relationship with someone with mental health. I understand that. I get that. I know we're hard work and that, but we get given up on so many times because people say, oh, "That's it. I can't do it anymore," and they just walk away, and that just makes things worse. But they forget that they can walk away from the situation. We can't. Wherever we go, it bloody follows us.
Yeah, it's our shadow, isn't it?
Yeah. I feel like it's a twin. I've always called, like, even since when I was a little kid, before I knew about anything about mental illness. Now, if I'd have a moment, my mum used to call me Fred, because she said I was like a completely different person, and I still use that terminology now. No, I am me. Fred is the BPD.
Yeah.
That's that is a different side to me. It's not me. This is me. But people forget that. People assume that that's me, but it's not. That's just a part of me. It doesn't define who I am.
Exactly.
But that's forgotten so quickly these days.
It is. It is. Well, we need to forget that the same we do for our children when we raise them up, we get much further with them being good kids when we praise good behavior rather than, point out the bad behavior, right? So the same with people with ill mental health. Praise this what is good about them so they feel good about themselves, and then they are more likely to jump over the hurdles that ill mental health throws at them.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was lovely speaking to you, Ryan. I am now very intrigued about the second book brewing, so I will be impatiently waiting for that.
No pressure then.
Thank you everyone who tuned in, for your lovely comments and questions. The next episode of Art My Medicine will be in 2 weeks, and I hope you will tune in then. Lovely spending a morning with you all, and see you soon.